Dreaming about ways to make things better has become almost routine in the state of New York. For several years, the public employee unions and the governor's office have been meeting away from the traditional bargaining table to fashion improved public services. One item high on the agenda is how to stay competitive with private industry to attract and retain a skilled workforce that will take New York State into the next century. Albany, New York is a company town. Its business is state government. As the third largest public employer in the country, the state of New York would rank 6th among Fortune 500 companies if it were a corporation. Like all big employers, the state of New York faces a changing workforce. Nationwide, between now and the year 2000, 64% of all new workers will be women. 80% of those will have children.
Push.
New York State is one of the few employers who is making arrangements to care for these children. Before she worked here, single-parent Joanne Griffin knew firsthand about the shortage of quality child care.
Oh, I had a terrible time with babysitters. I probably went through 8 babysitters for the first 2.5 years of my daughter's life. I was able to do my job, but my mind was half here and half on worrying how my daughter was being brought up.
Now Joanne works at the New York State Police Crime Lab. Anytime a law enforcement agency wants evidence analyzed, fingerprints, blood, paint chips, it comes here. Crime Lab Director R.W. Horn.
I think there's a tremendous demand on the employees here. There is a constant pressure of pending cases, the need to get the case reports out for the legal system so that they're of value to them to use in the judicial process.
When child care arrangements break down, so does work. But at the crime lab, the justice process can't afford breakdowns. Fortunately for Joanne and her daughter, Kristen Marie, the state of New York has a network of on-site child care centers.
And what's this over here?
A seashell.
The child care program is the result of a joint effort between the state of New York and its 3 largest unions, the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, AFSCME, the Service Employees International Union, SEIU, and the American Federation of Teachers, AFT. Irene Carr, an officer of the Civil Service Employees Association, AFSCME, was a moving force behind the child care program.
Well, we're over 50% women in our union, and we saw the need and we heard from our membership that there was a need, and we wanted on-site child care if possible.
Joe McDermott, union president.
Is important, and when they know that their children are in a good setting and they don't have to worry about whether they're being properly taken care of, that relieves the tension in the work atmosphere, makes for a healthy work atmosphere and a productive work atmosphere.
From the management perspective, we see child care as good business. There's a labor shortage coming, and in order to remain competitive, we feel that we need to be able to attract and retain a qualified workforce.
Hey. Hi. Oh, come on.
New York State's child care program is the single largest employer-based program in the country. 38 on-site centers now provide care for some 2,700 children between the ages of 8 weeks and 5 years. With the centers close by, parents can drive to work with their children and drop in for visits during the day.
Yes! Right here. I'm able to drop her off there in the morning and know that she's getting the proper care that I would give her if I was home with her.
Our program now represents 2% of all daycare in daycare centers in the state of New York, and we know that it's at the tip of the iceberg. We cannot begin to meet the need.
We're going
to make a castle. What do we need to make a
The
castle?
primary source of funds for operating costs is from fees paid by parents, typically from $45 to $90 per week, depending on income.
Irene, maybe you could speak to the kinds of situations that your members brought to the table.
Well, one of our concerns was we have...
New York State's on-site child care centers are managed by a Labor Management Child Care Advisory Committee. Representatives of the public employee unions and the governor's employee relations office assist in the development of proposals for centers and make all funding decisions on startup grants.
You have to have involved both management and the unions in an issue like child care. The employees' children are involved. They obviously
Liz
care
Moore,
about
Director
what
of the
happens
Governor's
in terms
Office
of
on
child care,
Employee
and we obviously
Relations.
care about what they think about the child care that we're providing. So I think that in and of itself allows us to provide very, very high quality child care because of the parents' direct involvement, the employees' direct involvement in the program.
In New York State, child care is one of dozens of programs where labor and management are pulling together. Like any large employer, in business or government, the goal is better service. In the child care program, it's working.
That's a classic example of this management and the unions identifying a program that would benefit both of us. And in the end, that benefits the taxpayer as well. The employee is not taking time off to deal with child care issues and is on the job and is not worrying about where or what his child is doing.
And it's necessary that we have available to us competent employees to hire. One of the ways of accomplishing this is to have child care facilities.
If the child enjoys it, and when the weekends roll around and wakes up on a Saturday morning and says, you know, is today school day, Mommy? And you say no, and she starts to cry. When you're at that point, then you know your child loves the school, and that's what really matters.